Hey everybody, it's Royal Syrup Gamer back with part 2 of my 3-part series where I attempt to predict new heroes banners in Fire Emblem Heroes. This video will cover the 4 new heroes banners running from October 2023 to January 2024. In the last video of the series, I did predict the game order correctly, other than that pesky 3 houses banner that showed up in April. I did not do as well predicting heroes, and I only correctly guessed Dorothy and Vanessa. However, after Ivy's reveal, I picked 4 of the 5 heroes on the Engage banner correctly, however that was in a Discord, and I missed only Citrine. I also correctly picked Murdoch as a GHB unit. For all of you FE4 and FE5 fans, I think I have some bad news. The banner with Ascended set was a mixed banner, and Thracia is probably going to be skipped, making way for Blazing Blade. The star of this banner is most likely going to be Ascended Peony, as we've seen her in the recent Nihility and Dreams 4 Tempest Trial Plus story. The problem with Blazing Blades is there are not too many units that are popular and still available. I think Oswin is a pretty safe pick because he's important to the story in the latter half of the game and is also pretty popular. He's an Armor Knight in Blazing Blade and might make an interesting demote unit for the crazy Oswin fans that want to plus 10 him. And Nurgle makes so much sense here as a GHB. He does have a Perf Tome, Ereshkigal, in the GBA game, but he'll probably just have a generic weapon with similar effects to whoever the demote is. Because of this, he could realistically be any color, but we all know that Fey Evil Tomes are red. As for other red units, Isadora also is somewhat popular compared to the other female characters left in Blazing Blade that aren't in Fey. There aren't a lot of sword calves in the 5-star normal pool, and she would make a pretty neat number 2 unit. To sell the banner alongside Peony, I think Nino is actually a nice choice here as a rearmed unit. There are Nino lovers and Nino haters, but we all know that in the GBA game she eventually becomes a busted unit. And she could take any color for rearmed. There really are only 2 choices if IS goes this route. Colorless, because if my prediction's correct, there won't be any colorless units on the banner yet. Or red. We already have a rearmed hero, but we know we're not getting another rearmed blue tome because we just had one. And rearmed Nino is not going to be sharing with Ascended Peony on green. I think with the big Black Friday deals, IS is going to want to capitalize and we'll see more Engage units. Your online pocketbook will be sitting wide open during the holiday season, ready to snap up those long-awaited Engage units. However, I do think that they will have to put one more OC hero here, and I'm predicting a rearmed or ascended Triandra, who I believe will come out of nowhere to finish Gununga Gap in Nihility and Dreams Part 5. I'm hoping that Triandra is ascended with a green tome to make way for Arcane Bolganone, which will be wielded by the older sister of the Kingdom of Elusia, Ivy. Everyone was excited for Ivy this summer, and for her to be in the normal pool would be really great. However, if we do have an Arcane Bolganone, it will be our second red tome, meaning Nino would not have a red tome in the previous banner. And we still don't have an Arcane Dagger or an Arcane Staff in the game. Joining her sister will be Princess Hortensia. I feel like I want to see some kind of freeze staff on her. I'm not sure how it would be implemented, but it's the first thing I think of when I see her. Maybe if it was a ranged enemy, it would freeze them in their space for the next turn, or maybe if it was a melee enemy that they could only move 1 space, something like that. I think it would be kind of interesting after she attacks. I don't know, just throwing that out there. So anyway, back to the heroes on the banner. Each of the first 2 nations had 2 retainers from the same royal in the banner. That means we either get the pair of Rosado and Goldmary or the pair of Zelkov and Kagetsu. If the former 2 show up, I think the GHB will be Gris, but if the later 2 show up, I think it's going to be Marnie. Either way, the pairing will have at least 1 instant demote and 1 character on the banner itself. Since there have been several male GHBs in a row, I'm saying that the trio will be Zelkov, who I think should have an inheritable damage reduction dagger, Kagetsu, and Marnie. Then we could have the 2 boys be demoted units, and Marnie would be our GHB. December, we have a toss-up possibility for a trio of games, Awakening, Fates, and Shadow Dragon, but I'm choosing Awakening since it's been on recess for the longest. We know December always has a new mythic hero here to introduce the book, and although it's unknown who that's going to be, I have to leave a spot for her. Yes, it's going to be a female character. All of our free mythic units from the beginning, and of course Fjorm, have been female characters. There's also a very popular character from Awakening that's not in the main pool yet, which is Severa. The last 2 COIL voting numbers have placed her in 52nd and 56th place, so she's definitely in for this banner, or whenever the next Awakening banner is. There are many ways IS can build her, but I think that a Pegasus Knight with a sword is most likely, and she could have some interesting conversations with Cordelia. The non-ascended hero will be a fight between Laurent and Vike, but Vike has constantly finished above Laurent in COIL voting for several years. He'll most likely be a demoted Axe unit, but he will at least finally be in Fey, and lots of players will celebrate. The GHB is probably going to be Valadar. He's another unit who we've been waiting on for years. He carries the Grima Truth Tome in Awakening, but Fallen Male Morgan already has that tome in Fae, so he will either share that tome or have a generic red tome that mimic Vike's Axe. Finally, I think there will be a new Ascended Lucina that will either be blue or colorless. She's either going to be a lance or a bow. She could be a blue bow or a colorless bow, but I really think that they want to capitalize on Lucina being Ascended. It's a really great pick, and I think a lot of players will be shocked but pleased when they see her, and a lot of people are going to be pulling for her if she ends up on this banner. In January, it will have been 9 months since the most recent Three Houses banner, and we know that Intelligent Systems is thinking, gee, that's 9 months too long. However, there's no real theme that IS can go with for Three Houses. Their most recent banner was Silver Snow oriented, and the closest they could get here is a modified Black Eagle banner. The banner would most likely consist of Dorothy, Sothis, Caspar, Euritza, and some GHB, probably Miklon or Thalas. I put the CYL voting results over here next to the units, and you can see that there's no real consistency among the houses. I've put the colors there, and then also it says Evil next to anybody I think could possibly be a GHB. I think that there could be a rearmed Sothis giving us a second Dragon rearmed unit, a Dancer Dorothy, an Axer Lance Caspar, and a Swordmaster Euritza, along with, let's say, a cool PRF Miklon that has either the Lance of Ruin or a PRF Beast skill, because he's known as the Black Beast in the game. I know I don't give you very much to go on, but this banner makes the most sense unless someone like Eloise or Hanneman somehow ends up in the mix, so, take it for what it's worth, and we'll see what they do for the next Three Houses banner. So there you have it. This video is a little bit shorter, but we've got Blazing Blade, Engage, what might be the last Awakening banner. There's not too many heroes left in the pool that are popular, and then another Three Houses banner, and that will take us up through the anniversary. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll try to keep the conversation going. Have a good one, and good luck with your summoning.